With the start of college basketball just around the corner, I think any coach that would have an opportunity to take a team overseas would tell you how excited they are to have that chance to practice with their team, put your offense in, and then go have an opportunity to literally compete and play. I know for us, we have an extreme amount of confidence right now coming out of the summer. We're looking forward to the start of college basketball season, and I literally have had to sit on my guys a little bit this month of September as to not let them do too much so they're not too burnt out once we hit January, February. So our Italy trip has been wonderful for us and has really given us a chance to get a leg up, I think, on a lot of teams in the country.
That Italy trip, how important was it for you guys and just as a team to get that first win, to get back on the winning track, so to speak?
Well, understanding that the new guys have come in with not knowing where this program has been and what it went through last year. So number one, it was good for them just to be able to play the type of competition that we played over there, to go on the road, be away from home, not have a lot of fans, but play some strong physical teams. And I thought they did a nice job responding. For the veteran players, to get back on the winning track, to understand how to win. We had some close games over there. The competition factor is really good. So the whole trip was important for us. The winning was important, the bonding, the practices, the competition, everything we gained out of that trip was very, very valuable for us.
Just looking at what Malachi did in high school, he seemed like such a prominent scorer, but looking at the box scores from that elite trip, it seems like you want to use him as a distributor. What is his game like for you?
Well, you got to realize in high school where was kind of the man his senior year, to average 30 points a game is huge. To come out of here to Player of the Year out of the state, he had his confidence in everything. When you come up to this level, you jump into an environment where everybody was the best player on the team. You've got some established scorers already, so I wanted him to play a ton of minutes, and number one, just get comfortable with our system. I thought he scored the ball extremely well. There are going to be nights where he's counted on to score it more. He has the ability to do that, and there are going to be nights where he's going to be counted on to distribute the ball more. The biggest thing with Malachi, just like Milan, they both are very, very, very bright point guards that understand how to run teams, how to run your system. Those are big, big assets for us going into the year.
That's 2 years in a row now that you brought the state player of the year out of the West Side. How does that sort of fit into your kind of long-term plan?
I think the long-term plan for us in terms of recruiting is to recruit the state. And it's very important for us to have a connection with the rest of the teams in the state, particularly your better basketball players coming out of state, because I think there's some excellent players here. And to be able to do back-to-back years having a player of the year, I think that speaks volumes for where we're going as a program. Malachi will not disappoint people when they see him play. Viante Daniels has improved immensely from where he was last year. So I look for both of those players, as well as Robert Franks out of Evergreen High School out of Vancouver, local products to have big impacts on our program. I think that's going to bring in fans. That's going to allow us to recruit even more. So those are all three of those are very valuable recruits for us.
Any sort of Josh Hawkinson effect there?
Well, when you look at Josh, I look at Josh as the Papa Coug. So in terms of him already being here before I got here and bringing the three in, I think that his impact on it is the fact that he's such a great player. And I think when people see the type of success that he's had here, I think it has surprised people. And I think that anything that when I talk about things are going to be bestowed on him this year, when he has possibly a scoring champion, possibly an all-conference, those types of things, they're very well deserved, and those are only going to impact us in a more of a positive way as we get through the season.
Any off-the-court highlights from the Italy trip? Any cool things you guys got to do as a team?
You know, when you go to Italy, all of its highlights, the chance of the sightseeing from a cultural aspect, it was invaluable. The bonding that came together was huge, but probably my favorite moment is when we had a chance to visit the Army base outside of Pisa over there, that I thought was very neat to see so many young people there. We saw people that actually lived here in Pullman, Eugene, Seattle, Tacoma, and to interact with those servicemen over there was huge, because it gave you a sense again that we have the greatest country in the world. And when you have men and women that are putting themselves in harm's way and you have a chance to interact with them, that was all a positive for us. That was probably the biggest highlight of the trip, to actually go over and serve them. We actually put on hats and served them food and cleaned up after them. That was pretty cool.
What can fans expect entering the season for people who are just making the transition now from football to basketball? What can you tell them about this upcoming squad?
I think when they look at this team, USC team that is a lot more what I would call in sync with what we want to do. The speed of the game, the Christmas offensively, the fact that they can flow up and down the floor now, their ability to score. I think you'll see a team that's more intense on the defensive end of the floor. I just think overall with the players coming back that really understand what it is we need to get done. And what's coming in the door, the talent level that's coming in the door, the combination of the two, I think people should be pleasantly surprised when they see this team play. I think those that had an opportunity to travel with us over abroad were really, really surprised at what they saw. Just how much better this team is. A lot of that has to do with the experience of those veteran players, but also has to do with the talent that's coming in the door.
In the offseason, when you assessed last year, and everything that was happening towards the end of it, did you just feel like the confidence got lost in the middle and it was a slippery slope?
I felt like what happened, part of what happened to this team last year is that we had to slow the game a little bit down and put the ball in the hands of Q Johnson and Josh Hawkins and Connor Clifford. This team this year will be able to score more, so therefore we can speed the game back up again. Confidence was certainly a factor. Anytime when you're going through transition of a program, losing those senior players from your first year, bringing in new guys and having to have some new guys.
In 10 minutes.
You got 10 minutes. Bringing in new guys last year that you were counting on, I don't think we handled ourselves as well, just in terms of everything, chemistry, style of play, system, everything. We're so much different. It's the only thing I can tell you. We're a different basketball team this year. And your question might be, again, why? Why more experience, more leadership in Josh and Ike and Connor Clifford, Charles Callison? They're really good. Your leaders are key players, key clogs in what you want to get done. And then again, what's coming in the door, there's a different talent level and different energy coming in the door that allows us to play at a higher level and allows us to play with a better team chemistry as well, too.
And then also in the offseason, and really just the landscape of basketball as a whole, transferring. Does it seem like it's getting out of control? I know you guys bring in transfers, people have left here, but it just seems like every year is just going up and the numbers are getting higher.
You know, I'm on the board of college basketball, and our biggest discussion is transferring. There will be close to 800 plus transfers this year, and there's no stopping that. And people need to understand it's not just a basketball problem, it is a societal problem, because you have young people that are switching little league teams, AAU teams, swim programs, moving from one English class to another English class because that teacher's a little bit more favorable. By the time they get to this level as athletes, they probably have at least 10, 12 transfers in them already just from basketball and schooling along. So when we get them at this level, the biggest thing is for them to transfer as fifth-year transfers, they have to have their degree. So your degree rates have gone up. We've graduated. Everybody that stayed here, used their eligibility, has graduated here at Washington State. So transferring is here to stay. And it's all across the country, not just at Washington State. And again, it's not just at college basketball. It's in every sport across the board, and it's even in corporate America, where I think you see the young people jumping jobs a lot, looking for the grass being greener over here, so they move and do those things. So it's a part of the game we have to deal with. There's a right and wrong way of doing it, and we'll deal with it and move on.
Remember last year you mentioned that the non-conference schedule, especially keeping a lot of the games in Pullman, was supposed to help the team kind of gel early on. You have a similar schedule set at home on this year. Same kind of idea?
I think the biggest thing with the scheduling this year is to answer yes, part of that is, but again, I can't put a value on what we gained from being together this summer. Bringing in new players and having the opportunity to be in practice, go overseas and travel and come together as a team, play at a competition level over there that gave these young guys an opportunity to understand how hard they're going to have to play. Now you come into a competitive schedule where the games count. The fans are there, the media is there, their families are there. That's a transition they have to handle now. So I'm hoping this schedule will allow them to do that. And if we can reproduce the same team that we saw this summer, we will have the chance to have a very successful season.
Coach, kind of going off Evan's first question, what was the balancing act like for you this offseason between talking about last year and learning from those lessons, but at the same time, kind of bearing that as well moving on?
For me, I'm a pretty intense basketball coach, and I've told this story that at the end of last season, I bought a can of Roundup and burned a 1-17 in my backyard because I needed to visually see where we had been. The good thing is this fall it's grown over and the grass is greener now because I need to understand where we're going. And as part of this coaching is understanding, again, when you are reloading, rebuilding, if you want to call it programs, we've been down this road before. We built St. Mary's College into a championship program, and it's still a championship program today. We built the University of Oregon from scratch into a championship program, and it's still a championship program today. And we will build Washington State. You just have to go through that building process. So as I look back on last year in terms of where we were and where we're headed now, we are already so much more improved just in terms of what we need to get done on the floor offensively, defensively, the confidence. It's just a matter now of getting to the games and having all that translate into winning games when your regular season starts.
You mentioned you've been through some of these rebuilds. They're all difficult. What do you think you learned about yourself as a head coach last year going through that really difficult stretch?
I think the biggest thing in coaching is that you learn something every year. I mean, the fact that so many of us have been coaching for so long, we have very high success rates. My energy is very good, very high, and all those things too. But the number one thing I learned here, it's going to take a little bit longer than what I thought, because as a coach, you want it to happen right now. You've got to really be patient and really look at it in terms of the big picture of building programs and what you're doing. So for me, I had to really take a deep breath and realize that it didn't happen as quick as possible, but we're definitely headed in the right direction.
You mentioned Viante, really improving a little bit this offseason. In what aspects has his game evolved?
Strength. I think when you see his body, you'll notice he's gotten a lot bigger. The biggest fear I have for him, could he handle the physicality at this level, playing against bigger guards and everything? He spent the time in the weight room this summer. He's always been able to shoot the basketball, but now he has a bigger, stronger body that'll handle the physicalness of the conference as well, and just of a regular season.
Where do you see Darian King's role going this year as compared to how it was last year?
I see him playing a lot more. Darian has the ability to play two different positions now, because we can play him on the perimeter and now we can play him inside. So you'll see us playing a lot of small ball this year, and we can put him at the 4 because his skill set is good enough that he can handle himself down there defensively. He shoots the ball a lot better. He's playing a lot more confidence. He has an excellent mid-range game. So he was one of the reasons that allowed us to have success over in Italy, because the bigger, stronger, more physical teams, we needed to actually go smaller against those teams and speed the game up, and they had to catch us and keep up with us in scoring the ball. He allowed us to do that. And so therefore, his value to this team is even greater going into this year because his ability to play a multitude of positions.
With the new NBA draft rules this summer, you had 3 guys declare for the draft and obviously come back. It's a unique thing that goes on now. What do you think players can learn from that process, or how do you think your guys benefited from doing that?
I think what the new rules of what they're looking at in terms of the NBA, anybody that feels like they want an opportunity to be drafted should put their name in. The number one thing you're going to get from putting your name in is an evaluation. And they literally will look at every name there. The NBA has an advisory committee, and they have a member from every single team sitting in a room. They'll go through every single name. They'll talk and discuss stuff with their scouts that look at college basketball, and they will come back and give you a realistic view as to where they feel you are. Are you definitely a high draft potential pick? Are you somewhere a low potential first rounder? Are you a second rounder? Or are you outside the second round? Or are you probably not going to get drafted? You can come back as a player now and realize exactly where you stand and go back to work, as opposed to maybe dealing with an agent or two that's telling you you're going to get drafted, you're good enough to go into the draft. You get much more of a realistic view now as to where you're at, and more importantly, things you need to work on as well too.